All right, folks, without no shadow of a doubt. Oh my God. Ugh. Oh my God, Mr. Pro USA. Yes, sir. Mr. Red, White, and Blue. I have the best greatest country in the whole wide world. Oh my God. It's the America, America. You know how the Americans talk like, America. You have that little, you know how the Americans are. You know how Americans look, they have that look on their face. Um, let's hear what this so-called brother, my brother, what this so-called brother has to say today.
Flip back to Jorge Ramos. That fool who talks about America being stolen land. He says he loves America, but he wants to move back to Mexico. First of all, don't call yourself an American and say you want to go move back to another country. And this is why a lot of Americans say, I don't see you as an American. You're just a Mexican. Because a lot of people, even American citizens of Mexican heritage, they still will raise the Mexican flag with more love and respect than they would the American flag. And they live here. And this is why guys like Jorge Ramos, I say, you know what, get your ass back to Mexico and take all the illegals with you. Because in America, it's hard enough as human beings to be able to work together and create a society where everybody, tries to get along as much as we can. We come from different cultures. We have different likes, dislikes, things, different ways we perceive the way the world should be. But then to come here from another country and try and dictate our politics and our policy and then go out there and say, yeah, I want to stay here, but then I kind of want to stay over there. It's like you're once again proving that you're really not a patriot. You're really not an American. You're just an opportunist. And guys like Jorge Ramos love it when there's propaganda. They love it when there's chaos. And I can guarantee you tonight, Univision, they're going to talk about this. Oh my God, they're going to try and deport pregnant women. Well, yes, because that's what the left wants. They want a bunch of poor people so they can sit.
The link will be down below. By all means, do watch the rest of the video. We got here to hear Mr. Pro USA. Well, see, this is the problem with these Mexicans and Jorge Ramos. And you want to be Mexican, you ain't proud of being American. I mean, dude, I don't know where to begin with this. I don't know where to begin with Mr. Pro USA, Mr. Conservative Mexican, when this is just too funny. Okay. First of all, let's start off here. Number one, the fact they say watch Univision and you will see Jorge Ramos. Oh really? Oh really? Well, Mr. Conservative Mexican, why won't you talk about that tomorrow when you hear him speak about this left-wing propaganda? I'm not saying those things don't exist, because they actually do exist, by the way. Those things do exist. The thing why I find so comical about this is the fact that he's going to sit there and say, go watch Univision. No, well, why don't you watch it? Oh, yes, I forgot. You don't even know what he's even saying because you can't even speak the language. So how do you know what Jorge Ramos is actually saying? I'm not talking about, when you don't even know the language itself. See, this is why I keep trying to explain this to everybody. By the way, let me start off by saying this more seriously about this stuff. There's no shadow of a doubt. There is no shadow of a doubt this guy's clueless. He's talking. See, this is, if you look down in the comments, the title here, I start deporting pregnant undocumented immigrants. Brother, I hate to say this to you, but they've been doing that for quite a while, actually, the last decade. And again, this is the thing. I keep trying to explain this to people, is that once again, when it comes to these Mexican Americans, they're not smart. They're really, really not smart. Because the fact that he quoted Jorge Ramos, The fact that he has to reference Jorge Ramos, that tells you that this guy really does not know anything about Mexico. This guy knows nothing about Mexico. He doesn't know anything about what's going on in Mexico or even what's even in the United States. Because let me explain something to you, brother. The fact that Jorge Ramos is going to move to Mexico and all that stuff. First of all, you do realize that Jorge Ramos is actually hated on Mexico. People don't like Jorge Ramos because of his for decades, not since Trump, but for decades. Jorge Ramos has been bullying. He has this bullish mentality, overspeaks when he has conversation with other politicians in Latin America. He has that mentality. He's Jorge Ramos. Even in Mexico, and I know you don't know this because you can't read Spanish, you don't even know the language, you don't know anything to begin with. But in Mexico, if you actually, well, I don't think you are, but in Mexico, if people do watch the interview that he does in Spanish that's in Mexico, you have no idea how this guy's so criticized so badly down there. Like the comment section of so many Mexicans are calling this guy out so many times. He's so hypocritical. The fact of the matter is that he talks about him going back to Mexico. Yet at the same time, he talks about how he was injustice in Mexico. That's why I flee to the United States. Yet it doesn't make any sense to me because you work for Univision, which is a courtesy of Televisa, which basically is a propaganda machine in Mexico. But yet you want to talk about the injustice of Mexico and you want to flee to the United States because of of them not giving you freedom of speech, but yet you're on a channel that is sponsored by Televisa that is known for censorship in Mexico. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So that's why no one takes Jorge Ramos seriously. No one in Mexico takes him seriously. That's why I find it laughable when you mention he's going to flee to Mexico. And see, that's the problem with these Mexicans. And I keep trying to tell people, he's not going to Mexico. He's not. He's going to stay in Miami. He's going to live in Miami. And that's where he's going to live at. He's not going down to Mexico because in Mexico, they're literally going to murder. Well, not literally, but metaphorically, they're going to annihilate him. Because the stuff that he says is so hypocritical. It doesn't make any sense. On that note, let's start with what you said about the Mexicans waving the flag. They bring more love to the flag than the USA flags. Americans are tired of it because it's American stolen land and this is America and you Mexicans. And see, this is why I don't want you Mexicans. And see, this is the problem again. You do realize America's a continent, right? You guys live in the United States of America, USA. Mexico is still part of America. It's part of the Americas. All of the Western Hemisphere is called the Americas. We live in the continent of America, which is North America. You do realize that Mexico is part of the continent of America. See, they don't want to they don't want to get into this conversation because again, I'm trying to tell people about America. I tell people about the Americans in the United States. They're not smart. They're really not that smart. They're really dumb. This guy here is really all he does is just repeats everything what right-wing conservative talking points says. All he does is watch these videos, copies what they say, repeats it on his channel, and he calls it opinions. And people say, "Wow, you're so smart. You're so innovative." No, it's not innovative because the reason why I know this is because the stuff that he watches, I watch. So I already know what he's gonna say 5 steps ahead. I already know what he's gonna say. Then he's talking about, well, these Mexicans and you gotta take these illegals back. And yet he doesn't. This guy does not even get it. you do realize months ago, Mexico said they're willing to take back the illegals from Mexico. They have said that many times. They have said also that the USA can build their wall. They got no problem building the wall. No one has a problem building the wall. The problem is we're not going to pay for it. That's just it. You can build the wall you want. You can build it 10, 20 feet high, 80 feet high. Don't care. It's your money. You want to spend money on the wall? Go build the wall. Don't care. No one cares. I mean, see, this is the thing I'm trying to tell people. Because in Mexico, this is not our main issue. And the thing is, this is the part that I want to talk about. He sits there and says that you come to this country, the Jorge Ramos and the other people, and try to dictate our policies and all this and that. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, whoa, time out, Mr. Pro USA. Isn't this the country that goes around the world and invades so many nations and they go to their countries and tell them what to do, interfere in their elections, pose dictatorships, pose military rule, impose interventions? I mean, isn't that the same country that does that around the world? And you're telling me that some chubby ass female giving birth to kids is trying to dictate policies? Are you kidding me? Come on, man. Come on, bro. Give me a break. Bro, everybody knows what's happening here. Everyone knows what's going on. All you have to do in order to stop the flow of immigration, we've seen this plenty of times, is you got to change your foreign policy in Latin America. You're not going to do that. In order to do that, in order for you to do that, the first thing you need to do is you got to admit that you fucked up in these countries. Because if you actually look at foreign policy in Latin America, you will realize that the United States has gone around and effed up so many countries in Latin America to the point that these people actually leave to go through the borders to the United States. Americans don't want to talk about that part. Oh, no. They don't want to say anything. All of the, Operation Condor, no. School of Americas, genocide in Guatemala, the genocide in Chiapas funded by the United States. Don't want to talk about that stuff. The dictatorship in Brazil, don't want to talk about that. Plan Colombia, don't want to talk about that. Plan Mexico, the coup in 2009 in Honduras, don't want to talk about that. The Mosaic Massacre, the invasion of Panama, the invasion of Nicaragua, the 9/11 that happened in Chile, don't want to talk about that stuff. Don't want to talk about it. No. That's bad. When you start saying stuff like that, you go against Mr. Pro USA. Immediately, what they're gonna do, they'll call you communist. You're a leftist. You're a liberal. You're this. Because why? Because you go against Mr. Pro USA. And what's even comical about all of this, I'm actually conservative. I'm actually an actual conservative. From my country, yeah. I'm an actual conservative. And I can tell you right now that what you see in the United States is not conservatism. It's not right wing. It's none of that. What you see in the United States is a bunch of dumbed down Americans who have no idea in the world what is going on outside the United States. No, what he's concerned about is Jorge Ramos. I mean, the fact that this guy has to quote Jorge Ramos, that tells you how dumbed down he is. I mean, dude, anyone could debunk Jorge Ramos in 5 minutes because the guy contradicts himself every interview he does in Spanish. So when he does talks in English for the first time, it's not a surprise that, oh my God, he's not that smart. Well, of course he's not that smart. I mean, this is tough, man. This is tough. And this whole La Raza and the whole La Raza, again, I've been trying to tell, that's a stupid organization. No one takes that thing seriously. I'm sorry, man. I mean, this is the problem when you talk to a lot of Americans overall in the United States. They're not smart. Especially when it comes to policies and politics and economics and stuff like that, they're really clueless on a lot of avenues. They're really dumbed down. And at the end of this talking point, he's gonna sit there and says, "Well, when you watch, go watch Jorge Ramos tonight on Univision." That's kind of funny, bro. Why won't you go watch it? He ain't gonna watch it. I know he's not gonna watch it because the dude can't speak Spanish. He doesn't understand even Spanish. He can't read or write in Spanish. But yet, what's so comical about this? He says he's Mexican. It's unbelievable. I mean, only in the United States this thing could happen. It's just unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.